Thank you, SPS, for giving me the opportunity to be here. And what you saw with TAGG knives is a great lead into what I'm going to talk about. It's the flexibility. You look at the change and the flexibility that has occurred there over the last 5 years. And you really need to be flexible to be fast these days, and that's what we're going to talk about. Before we get to the modern fulfillment operation and the way it looks, I always like to take a look back and look at the evolution of fulfillment, really quickly how we got there. And I think everybody remembers the simpler times when you had a factory, and right next to the factory you had a warehouse, and the product stood in the warehouse, and then it was shipped to a brick and mortar store. Well, the first part of the evolution was when that factory went away. Well, with the rise of globalization, all of a sudden that factory really could be anywhere in the world, and with outsourced manufacturing, the factory could be anywhere in the United States. And so once that factory moves, the warehouse that was sitting right across the street next to it becomes completely relocatable and movable. And so you saw the rise of outsourced warehousing. The second part of the evolution occurred sometime later when you had the rise of e-commerce. So all of a sudden, the right side of the equation, that store changed. You had e-commerce grow. Consumers can buy product in a multiple of sales channels. You had a proliferation of sales channels, which eventually gave rise to what we're all talking about here today, which is the Omnichannel. And so the Omnichannel, I like to look at it as consumer-driven. It's a seamless integration of all these sales channels. Consumers can buy product at the store. They can buy product online. They can buy product online and pick it up at the store. They can buy it online and return it to the store. They can buy it online at the store and have it delivered, and they can find it at the store and buy it online. There's a whole bunch of ways that the consumers can get product. Bottom line is they want what they want, when they want it, where they want it, at the price they want it, or as Tanya pointed out, they'll just go to Amazon and buy the product. So from a warehouse point of view, the whole model has changed. What was once a factory next to a warehouse shipping it to brick and mortar stores, well, the factory, now that they're outsourceable, there's multiple factories. The right side of that equation, I could have kept doing arrows to stores, but I put stores in quote because the store has become anything. So what we're going to focus on right now is that middle piece, that warehouse that has to change, it has to adapt. And to go through warehouse changes, I always like to break it down, and we do the same with our warehouses, break them into the different pieces. The first piece is back to that simpler time. It's business to business. There you have a warehouse shipping distribution to other brick and mortar stores. The other piece is business to consumer. This is what everybody calls order fulfillment. The third piece, which is growing, is it's almost a hybrid approach. You take qualities and aspects of the B2B and B2C. And then the last piece, which is the catch-all, is what's next. Zach Nelson pointed out, you're never going to know what's next, but you know there's going to be something next. So B2B, let's take an example. We have a client, TAGG has a client called Ignite. They make Contigo brand thermos kind of style water bottles and coffee mugs. You can find Contigo water bottles at Costco. You can find them at Sam's. You can find them at Target, Walmart, all the big box retailers. You can also find the water bottles at mid-tier or more regional guys, maybe a mid-tier like a Brookstone. There's also a lot of mom-and-pop stores, boutiques. For example, their coffee mugs are we ship them to coffee shops all across the country. So even within the B2B, there's a lot of variety. Generally, it's case pack, pallet quantities. We work in a routing guide environment, vendor compliance, EDI labels. We work with SPS to provide EDI labels. And it's mostly shipping, freight, and some parcel. You can also go online and buy a water bottle and have one water bottle delivered to your home. There's things like direct response TV, DRTV, direct response mail, catalogs. Basically, on the order fulfillment side, the characteristics are it's each pick. It's packaged for home delivery. Shipping methods tend to be parcel to residential addresses, so UPS, FedEx, USPS is how we're delivering those parcels. The hybrid approaches, those same water bottles you can find in Bed Bath & Beyond. And Bed Bath & Beyond doesn't have distribution centers. We take a case and we stick an EDI label on it and we ship that case to a Bed Bath & Beyond store. So right there we have the characteristics of order fulfillment. It's a pick system, but we're shipping to a business. Groupon, Amazon, Home Shopping Network. Those are products that are shipping to the end consumer. So they're doing fulfillment, but we're shipping, TAGG shipping water bottles to distribution centers for Groupon and Amazon. And often we have to have packaging be in its final form for delivery to the consumer. So when you combine B2B and B2C, you've got product that's shipped direct to store or product that's shipped to distribution centers, and it's combining the characteristics of both. My favorite category is the never-ending kind of what's coming next. One of the hot topics at TAGG right now is the daily deal sites. If anybody heard the keynote speaker, also called the flash site. Here we're getting a closeout sale, or we'll get 5,000 of one SKU, and then they'll put it on the internet and blast it out. And then we do it again the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And it's a never-ending change. We ship to vending machines. We ship to kiosks. We do ship to promotional events, sporting events. It really will never end, and you have to keep up, and you have to remain flexible. So what is the fulfillment speed? How do you determine the speed limit in this never-changing omni-channel environment? At TAGG, we try to break it down into three pieces. The first piece is what we call order flow velocity, and that's getting the order from the point of sale or the shopping cart to the warehouse as quickly as possible. The second piece that we determine speed limit is called order processing velocity. Here, the order's gotten into the warehouse, but now we need to take it from the warehouse and get it to the truck. And then the final piece is order shipping velocity. Once it hits that truck, we got to get it from the truck to the consumer to their front door. Order flow velocity is really an IT play, and we're hearing quite a bit about this in this conference because it involves seamlessly integrating different systems using resources like NetSuite and SPS. But it's basically getting from that point of purchase, which might be a shopping cart or which might be an ERP system, getting that order into the warehouse management system. And y'all remember where all those stores were and all those arrows, they might have different point of purchase systems, but they need to come into the warehouse management system almost as one. And they don't need to only come into the warehouse management system. We have to logically group them in order to prepare them for picking. So back to the Contigo water bottles, we might have an order for 40,000 water bottles. At the same time, we might have an order for my house for one water bottle. Well, we don't need those two orders showing up on somebody in the warehouse's handheld scanner for them to pick. Those need to be grouped logically. And so that's a part of the order flow velocity. And really what we're looking at here is this is an intraday event. And I say intraday, it's all same day, and honestly, it should happen almost in real time. So if I go online to Ignite's or Contigo's site and order a water bottle at 11 o'clock, that order should clear payment and be in our warehouse management system and really can be in the scanner at 11:01. And that's the goal. Order processing velocity, this is the orders come into the warehouse and how do we get that out the door. And we could do a whole segment on order processing velocity, and you're welcome to come to our warehouses and see the flow work. But we'll boil it down here just to really quickly, something like SKU management. You put fast-moving SKUs towards the front. You've got SKU A and SKU D, and they sell together a lot. Well, you should put SKU A and SKU D next to each other. So that's things like Skew Knowledge, multiple fulfillment methods. Again, that order from 40,000 cases for Walmart and the one order bottle, well, that 40,000 cases for Walmart is probably going to go to a part of the warehouse that has case quantity, pallet quantity picks, and is set up like that. And that one water bottle order is going to go to our pick module where we have high-speed conveyor systems where it can go to the packing station, the shipping station, and get out the door quickly. So you have to set up your warehouse like that. This, again, is also an intraday process, which means it's happening in the same day. So that order that came in at 11 to the shopping cart got to our warehouse at 11:01. The goal is to get that order, that water bottle, on a truck that leaves that day. The final piece is order shipping velocity. And here we're managing the logistics, the transportation side of it. There's two pieces to this. One's the shipping methodology, and one's where you put your DCs. So from a shipping methodology point of view, there's all types of shipping out there right now. There's UPS, FedEx, USPS, Logistics, DHL. You've got to choose a shipping, first and foremost, that matches your brand. We always say deliver your brand. So if you're selling diamonds, you don't want to put them in an envelope and have them show up in a mailbox. It needs to be a high-value, trackable item that shows up at a front door with a signature. So you have to match your image with the way you're shipping. You also have a lot of options when it comes to shipping, something called dynamic shipping, which we do a lot of. Things like the system or our transportation management system chooses the best shipping method based on criteria you input. Maybe it's time in transit. You want the fastest method. Maybe it's least cost routing, where you want the cheapest method. And more and more nowadays, it's a combination of both. It's what's the fastest and the cheapest at the same time. So the system automatically chooses the shipping methodology. You can't ignore location, like they say in real estate, location, location, location. So if you're going to have one DC, one centralized DC, obviously it makes sense probably to put it in the center of your population base or where your customers are. More and more now, everyone's using multiple DCs to get product close to where their customers are. You know, the goal on order shipping velocity is 1 to 3 days. So non-expedited, if you can get your DCs and product located appropriately, you can get within 1 to 3 days. And really when you combine all these two, that order for the one water bottle that hit at 11 o'clock, showed up at our warehouse at 11:01, we pick, package it, and put that on the FedEx truck that evening. And with multiple distribution centers, that FedEx truck can deliver the next day or deliver in 1 or 2 days later. And so 1 to 3 days tends to be what everybody's shooting for right now with the multiple DC model. Unless Tanya's from Amazon, you've got drones dropping the stuff from the skies. But this is the general model that you have going forward. So how to increase speed limit? I think everyone's resigned that we're in an omni-channel environment, that consumers are driving change. And so once you get resigned to that and you realize that chaos is kind of the norm, you need to design a distribution system in your fulfillment center based on flexibility. You have to have the flexibility, and then the flexibility leads to speed. When I came here in the airport, I passed by a kiosk that had Vita Coco, which is coconut water, which is one of TAGG's clients. And it reminded me of this speech today. We have coconut water in our warehouse, and we ship it to Costco, we ship it to Walmart, and we ship it to Whole Foods, for example. Right there, those are 3 completely different distribution systems that we ship to, and that's just in the B2B. You can go online and buy coconut water. You can go to Amazon and buy coconut water. We do guilt promotions all the time with the coconut water. We even had a project where if you went on Facebook and became friends with Vita Coco, we shipped product to you. And we ship product to Yo Gabba Gabba concerts throughout the United States. And so there's just an example of how one client is never ending, is never going to change in the way that they get their product to their consumer, and really the consumers are driving it, working with the client. So flexibility becomes important, and flexibility leads to speed. Thank you.
I kind of feel like I needed to ask Todd a question so he didn't feel lonely up there. So as the speed of fulfillment has increased over really the last 5 years, how has your relationship with your customers changed? Your level of planning, working with them on forecast, and from the 3PL side, what's kind of the perfect world or your best practice when you interact with your supplier customers?
Sure. And for the record, I think SOG Knives is a lot cooler than warehouses also. So, but you're right. It's very much a partnership approach, and there's 2 aspects to the coordination. One is the level of inventory, and from a 3PL point of view, it's difficult that we have knowledge of the demand of the product, but that's almost when it's already happened because we're involved in shipping. We don't get the forecasted side of it. So our goal is to provide our clients with the tools necessary to make the planning, giving them, for example, real-time looks into inventory and Skew Knowledge. Where I've seen the biggest change is on the shipping side. Shipping has become extremely complex, and we have clients that you had a shopping cart and you go on the shopping cart and you check out and it would choose a standard shipping path, or you say UPS ground. But now there are so many shipping options, and with the computer now or the system determining the option, it's difficult to tell the consumer exactly what the shipping option is upon checkout, because that decision is not made until really we have the package and we're ready to put it on the truck. So we work with our clients almost every day. We're talking to clients about the shipping options and where shipping prices are, how they should determine shipping prices on their website, looking at abandonment rates on the website to see if the shipping is too high or too low. And for example, if you go to Amazon right now, they don't really tell you the shipping method. They give you a breakdown of the days. So you can say, I want it expedited or regular, and they're not going to say it's on UPS or FedEx or USPS, and that's because none of us, including TAGG, we don't quite know exactly what the shipping method's going to be until we put that package together and we rate it and the system determines it. So that's probably the biggest difference is on the shipping side, where we're really working closely with clients almost on a daily basis, tweaking and understanding how are we going to deliver the product to their consumer. The question was about SKUs, and SKU knowledge is extremely important. There's a couple aspects to it. First, well, we're setting up the warehouse. So we'll work with our client and we'll get, we call it SKU velocities, just an Excel spreadsheet of give me all your SKUs and how much you sold of each of those SKUs over a time period so we can understand how things are turning and how things are moving. We also get hit very hard with you talked about a little proliferation of sales channels. You tend to have a proliferation of SKUs as well, particularly on the e-commerce side where you could say, I just want to offer 10,000 SKUs, and I don't care if I sell just 2 of this SKU, but all I got to do is take a picture of it and stick a couple in my warehouse, and I can say I offer it on my website. And we work with clients a lot on that because most modern warehouses, whether you're pick to light or doing voice command, you have to have a slot for each SKU. So if you have 10,000 SKUs, then you've got a lot of slots, and you take up a lot of space. So we typically have SKU reviews with our clients where we'll go through with the client and sit down and go through, okay, here's all the SKUs. This is the fast movers, the slow movers. There's always an 80-20 rule with SKUs. 80% make up most of the sales. And try to make sure we continue to knock out those lower moving SKUs and motivate our clients to knock out those lower moving SKUs to make warehouse operations more efficient. But SKUs are tough, and then you've got the daily deal sites, which completely kind of blow everything out, where you get a whole bunch of product, and then you kill that SKU, and you do the next SKU and the next SKU, and it's a never-ending battle managing SKUs because you can take over your entire warehouse operation. So,
how do you decide to outsource to a company like TAGG?
I would say for us, when clients come to us, there's a couple of things. Well, one is location. So we might have a client that, they were in Florida, and they started in Florida, and the owner's in Florida, and they have a little warehouse out there, and then they've grown, and all of a sudden they realize they're shipping all across the United States from Florida, which doesn't make much sense unless all your customers are in Florida. So that client says, I'll keep my place in Florida, but maybe open up a West Coast distribution center or a centralized hub. And instead of signing a lease and opening up a warehouse, they have a multiple distribution point system with a different vendor. So we get that a lot. There are clients, there are customers out there that don't make sense to outsource. If you've got a unique product line, if you've got a high number of SKUs, low volume, if your packaging is so unique or gift wrapping, and you just have to look at the services that you want and make sure that if you outsource, you know you're going to someone that is very good at doing what you need them to do and not just the jack of all trades. So sometimes it doesn't make sense to outsource, but sometimes if you're looking for a different skill set or a different geography, it makes sense.